So chapter 7 starts out talking about subscription versus pay per download. It says that the ultimate answer is less likely to turn on whether subscription or pay per download models are the best, but on customer interface, reliability, security marketing, pricing, and range of content offered. It says that a key limitation to certain subscription services is the diminishing returns to content providers, as an aggregation model is akin to cable. When it comes down to it, basically, the only way to counter this is to charge more as content choices go up. A lot like cable companies offer tiered subscriptions. But the problem is that tiered subscriptions will eventually cap out, and demand for content choices will continue to expand. And this is going to be hard for operators aggregating content and offering subscriptions, because they're either going to have to squeeze the content providers, or they'll have to limit content and segment offerings into genre silos. In contrast, pay-per-download services simply would have to negotiate a split with the content providers. Then it talks about the different kinds of ads online. The oldest and most common are banner ads, and they're bought and programmed in standard pixel sizes. There's the ad that's like the vertical box on the side of the page. It's called a skyscraper ad. And with the advent of video, there's been a corresponding growth of video advertising. And given the nature of the internet, including the trend for content to be delivered in shorter segments, video ads are shorter increments, like 15 seconds long. More important than length, though, is the placement of the ad. It said, advertising is priced on a CPM model, cost per 1,000 eyeballs. Banner ads are usually cheaper than video ads, and because you are more likely to watch an ad before a piece of video than stay and watch one afterwards, the rates tend to be higher for what they call pre-roll than post-roll ads. The highest CPMs are achieved with relevancy, of course, so we're talking about starting to see ads that are matching what it knows you want to see. So it's kind of like an Amazon type recommendation thing for ads. It also talks about a change of imposing frequency caps, meaning that the site can only count the user once or twice, for example, in a period of 24 hours. And this is bad for sites that depend on repeated viewers. It talks about how revenue splits are increasingly based on net advertising revenues, because there are few physical costs. Margins are extremely high. There are nevertheless some costs. First, you need the ad to be hosted by a site, which is inevitably a third-party function, so you have to pay them to host your site, which would usually be charged on a fee per advertisement served. There are also costs for paying people to report the metrics of the advertisement, and they would show you that the site hosting it delivered the requisite impression. It talks about how basically the owner of a site has a goal to maximize sellout and also maximize the value of key real estate. In the end, the owner of the site, if they still have space that remains on the site, they can elect not to include advertising, or just to run house ads, cross-promoting its products and services, like a TV network would run commercials to promote their own shows. It also says that a really important part of this is to not make the ads intrusive. The chapter also talks about some experiments that are going on, and how these experiments in terms of pricing are taking place in Europe, not the US. Things like interactive television services, like in Germany, it's starting to offer viewers the opportunity to see an episode early for an upcharge, and things like a season pass, where a viewer could prepay for early access throughout the season. Then the chapter starts to go into Google and how it bought YouTube in 2006, and the move was driven basically by traffic, because of course YouTube isn't yet profitable and Google Video is lagging behind. But it says that acquiring YouTube was kind of risky because, again, it wasn't yet profitable, and it carried a lot of litigation risks as far as other companies asking YouTube, please take down this content because it infringed on copyrights. talks about the difference between the distribution boss and how the distribution boss would see a viewing a clip or episode without permission as taking money away from them, while a marketing boss would see this as exposure of content to millions of people with a viral effect and driving awareness and interest. It goes into talking about Juiced and how it allowed for the integration of infinite video channels with a peer-to-peer backbone and a search functionality. So now you could be the actual programmer creating personalized channels. And it would also combine interactivity that would revolutionize TV, according to Zenstrom, which is the guy who created it. But Juice kind of fell short of its initial hype, but it is still kind of a representative of the literal coming together of a global application to see and even interact with whatever you want, whenever you want. So it goes into US networks and anyone trying to broadcast on the web and how they're testing a variety of business models. The two most important were the free advertising supported model and the pay VOD model. The CBS is one of the early entrants, and they went with the rentals of programs like Survivor for 99 cents on CBS, and Disney opted for the free advertiser supported model. Goes into Hulu and how it came up with the AVOD model. So it was giving network content for free streaming, but with revenues earned through the sale of video ads. And the cool thing about Hulu is that it gives not only fewer ads, but it also gives the viewer a choice to watch a longer ad at the beginning of a program or watching several ads that are shorter throughout their program. Then it goes into talking about how YouTube tried to compete with Hulu by creating a new section devoted to Hollywood and professional content. So it came up with a deal with ABC for short videos, and with Sony for both TV shows and movies. Makes the point that the new online video advertising market enables more original programming made for the web, allowing producers to rely on more revenues than simply from integrated product placement. Goes into living room convergence and how the definition of that is simply the ability to access the video over the internet and then watch it on your TV. Goes into Netflix and how the service at first allowed users to access and watch movies on TV through computers, which was then expanded to direct-to-TV application by allowing consumers to order a movie on Netflix via the remote control, which would be streamed directly to the TiVo box or TV. And then it talks about how Netflix is also closing deals with trying to deliver programs to set-top boxes and also gaming consoles. It has a pretty big section about the negotiations between the WGA and the SAG with the AMPTP. Basically, even though online and downloadable revenues are minuscule today compared to the sums generated via traditional outlets, actors and writers and directors all want to protect themselves in the event that these revenues actually grow. The problem was that in 2007, the AMPTP publicly called for a complete overhaul of the almost 50-year-old system of residuals for writers and actors and directors. The web, of course, was at the heart of the debate, and the studio was basically refusing any attempt to extend residual payments to web, download, or other new media exploitation. They finally came to an agreement regarding a residual formula for the principal new media categories. So the first was when a consumer pays to view a TV show or movie via a new media platform, including in the instance of downloads to own. And the second was when a producer makes a TV show available via advertising-supported media, or advertising-supported streaming, Then the last section of the chapter talks about user-generated content and how it's what creates YouTube, basically, and it's content that individuals upload to the web for anyone to see and potentially share. It talks about how the ability to upload videos and images from cell phones now creates a complete new level of access and potential, and it's kind of created this generation of citizen reporters, and suddenly pretty much nothing is private anymore. It says that the challenge of user-generated content and pretty much any kind of video content on the web has been how to monetize viewings, But it says that in terms of yield, YouTube has been coming up with all kinds of ways of converting videos into, or views into dollars, like different ad formats, different sales models, community engagement programs, and commerce transactions. Finally, this chapter talks about the new tools and types of content that are starting to emerge. First, companies are starting to offer simple editing systems, allowing users to make mini-movies. And second, companies realized that with facile editing and unlimited content, users could create mashups, combining elements of their own content with third-party content. So managers overseeing brands kind of realized that properly structured, they may be able to better engage their customers by offering their own material to be edited by fans or even combined with fan material. But in the end, the challenge for media content in a number of these contexts all comes down to artistic integrity. And the question is, how far will a creator or an owner or even the law will allow individuals to manipulate their work? And that pretty much covers chapter 7.